What is up, my friends? Welcome back to Yoga with April. How are you? I feel bad. I didn't record a class last week. And I realized I have been posting every week consistently for the last 3 months. And that's a huge thing for me because before I started kind of jumping back onto YouTube, I think it was a year since my last post. So I'm trying to, I think it's a big deal for me. I know you don't have to be that consistent on YouTube, but I'm really trying to this time around because I do enjoy connecting with people I can't typically connect to, or just providing you a yoga class in a space that you feel comfortable in. So I was beating myself up for a little bit, but life happens. I'm actually preparing to host a yoga retreat. So I'm going to Joshua Tree on Thursday until Sunday to host my 4th yoga retreat with my co-host over at Rooted Retreats. I'll link our Instagram down below as well because we're going to have a lot of announcements in August of what 2025 is going to look like. We have some stuff to share, so I'll start kind of weaving that into my conversations here too, because the retreats are students of mine that I know in real life. I've had students that I've only known virtually, and we've had people who have thankfully just stumbled upon our Instagram and like our social media who have trusted us enough to come hang out with us at one of our retreats. So my head's definitely been in prepping mode for that. But I didn't want to not give you a class this week, and I already had the class in mind as well, which is kind of ironic. The class was quick yoga. So like if you like want to move, want to groove, but don't have that much time, I'm quite literally going to walk you through, or guide you through, walk you through what I would quite literally do if I only had 20, 30 minutes as well. But of course that always changes. Like some things might change here or there, but for the most of the flow I have for you today is something I would be doing in my own spare time here too. I feel like I just repeated myself in 3 different versions, but we're going to keep all that in because I'm so sick of editing out the intros when I just can't shut up. And that's my cue to shut up and start teaching, right, Fielder? I think that's it. The retreat, sorry for last week. If you're new, check out the old videos. Even if you've been around, go do another video or 2. There's nothing wrong with repetition, right? And yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so we're gonna start right on our backs here too. So when you make your way to your back, I want you to bring your feet together as well. Your knees will go out nice and wide. So you'll be in that Supta Baddha Konasana through your lower half, that butterfly pose. Because just like I said, this is like quick yoga, right? So we're gonna get right to it, so to speak. So when you find a position on your back that you feel rested in, that you feel like you can settle with a couple breaths, then I want you to bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees go out nice and wide. If that's too much and you do have blocks with you, you can always place blocks under your thighs here as well. So that will kind of lift up your thighs, lift up your knees, and it won't feel so invasive for the hips and for the lower half. But once you find some happy medium, some comfortability with your lower half, bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart, and start to shut down your eyes here. And of course, when you shut down your eyes, try to relax your face. The space in between the brows, maybe the jaw, perhaps try to unclench the jaw. Now the tongue will naturally come back to the roof of your mouth, but I encourage you to try to dip it away from your mouth for a moment or 2, see if that provides you some more relief here as well. And then once the fidgets settle here, once you start to invite more stillness into your starting space, focus on your breath. And when you find these next few rounds of breaths in and breaths out, I want you to bring that elongation quality to it here too. Thinking of breathing in for maybe a count of 2 just to start off. So breathing in for a count of 2, slight pause at the top. And then of course, finding that nice slow exhale, maybe again for that count of 2, staying empty for a moment at the bottom. Letting the eyelids stay heavy here. Notice how the hips are reacting to this space. Send some love to the hips. Send a breath or 2 down to your hips. And of course, with these next few inhales, try to lengthen out your sides here as well. So when you find that breath, naturally we breathe into our chest here first, which makes sense because that's the first thing we see, right? So, or the first thing we notice rather. So you notice that breath into the chest. That's why when you have one hand on your belly, you can kind of focus more on that diaphragm breathing. So filling up the lower belly, filling up the diaphragm. Notice the rise of your palm. And then naturally let that inflation go through your sides, your belly, your chest. Eventually reaching your chest, your collarbones. And then find that nice slow exhale, let that go. Fieldy boy, lay it down, my love. Yep, right there, it seems really good. You lay it down. Okay, now that we're all laying down, we're gonna find a couple rounds of breath together. So keeping one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. 2 rounds here with me, just our simple boxed breathing. So start on empty. And now that first breath is in through your nose for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. We pause. Now you find that nice slow exhale for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. We stay empty. Good. Find another breath here through your nose for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. You pause. Now you find that nice slow exhale for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Stay empty. Now a big breath in. Breathe in, fill up, start through the belly, the sides, the chest. And then exhale, let that go. Let's find another one here, my friends. Breath in. And exhale, let that go. Now gently place your hands on the outside of your legs, your thighs, and bring them together like you're closing a book. Then eventually let the knees come inside your chest, interlaced behind the thighs, maybe on top of the shins. And find a little hug here, so a little compression so you feel that tailbone, your lower back, glue down towards the mat here a little bit more. Allowing you to get into the hips. You might even bring your hands on top of your knees, start making circles with your knees. And get funky with it, right? Maybe one knee goes towards the edge of the mat, one comes towards the midline. Make super big circles, super small circles. And then eventually bring the knees back inside the chest. Flex your toes back towards your shins. Feel your toes separate here. So you don't have to look at them, but you can feel that separation happen. So separate the toes and then roll out both of your ankles. It's like we're here for a good time, not for a long time, when we're trying to find quick movement to start or end the day, right? Or maybe it's like in the middle of your day. Now we're going to find our first twist here. So gently place your feet back onto the mat. Bring your hips off the mat, maybe just an inch or 2 like you see here. So we're not finding bridge pose, but we are going to find a deeper supine twist. So the hips are slightly elevated. Bring them over towards the right side of your space, then gently place them down. Good. Now go ahead and let your knees drop left. Let them stack on top of one another. And you're going to cactus your right arm. So cactusing that right arm as you find that gaze towards the right side of your space. And I'm just going to look towards my left so I can talk more into the microphone. So as you gaze over towards that cactused right arm, try to glue down your shoulder blades with a few exhales. And you might notice instead of having that arm, your right arm straightened out nice and long, we have more of that goalpost shape. You might feel your triceps open up there a little bit more, and you might even notice if that shoulder can anchor down a little bit more towards the ground and away from your right ear. And of course, the breath that you're finding, try to send it to your right lung, maybe in between the ribs, bringing an inflation to the top of your space. Of course, as you exhale, continue to let the knees stack. Good. Bring it back towards center. Feet will stay on the mat. Bring the left foot towards the left edge, right foot towards the right edge. Let your hands fall wherever it feels best. And start to just windshield wiper left to right. Beautiful. Come on back towards center. Drive into the heels to lift up the hips just slightly. This time we're going to travel on over towards the left side of our space with our hips and then drop our knees to the right. Finding that cactus or that goalpost shape with your left arm, letting your gaze gently follow that space. Maybe you see a puppy paw there too, because I see a fieldy paw. And again, try to notice here. So I personally like to bring my opposite hand on top of my thigh. So for this specific portion, your right hand on top of your left thigh. It helps me feel more anchored through my inhale. So of course my inhales help me find space, sending it to my lower back here as well. But you still have that heaviness for your left thigh as that right hand gently falls on top. Always looking for your connections to your mat, connection to your practice that helps you find stability, that helps you find depth. But then allowing the spaciousness to come in with your breath in, with your movements, finding that lightness here too. Good, bring it back towards center. Feet will gently plant here one more time. Bring your hips back towards center. And then extend your legs up towards the sky, so little legs up the wall. But this is also going to turn into a little hamstring stretch here too. So once the legs go up towards that ceiling, bring your hands behind your legs, somewhere on top, behind the hamstrings here, behind the shins maybe. Invite a little micro bend into your knees here as well, and I want you to pulse your shins back towards your face. And when you find these pulses here, try to think of a sensation that, it feels good, you're not in pain, but it's a little bit more intense than you're typically used to, right? So that happy medium, so to speak. And then once you find that happy medium here, try to re-invite your feet into this activation by flexing your toes back down towards your shins. Heels go towards the ceiling, and we're breathing together for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently bring the knees back inside the chest. Last moment here to hug and sway around. And now when you're ready, we're going to start rocking the length of our mat. We're coming right to a tabletop pose. So take a few rocks, or find a few rocks rather. Try to wake up the core a little bit with me. And then when you're ready, ankles will cross and you'll find that tabletop pose. Now we're going to add our toe pose and our wrist stretch in here together. So I want you to separate all 10 fingers and start with tucking your toes. For at least a moment or two, feel free to circle the shoulders, letting that weight kind of go towards the fingertips, towards the outer edges of your hands. And then eventually come back to that neutral tabletop pose. So neutralize the spine, bring the navel in towards your spine just slightly so you're not dipping into that lower back. You're nice and even here. Elbows of the hands are going to have to anchor back down. And you want to make sure you tuck your toes for these next few motions. So we'll find a little toe pose and a wrist stretch here. So find a breath in, prepare with me. And as you exhale, push into the palms of your hands as you let your hips drive towards your heels, building up a sensation for the bottoms of your feet. You might stay here for a moment, sway the hips left, sway the hips right. And then you find an inhale that's going to float you on forward. Maybe your shoulders drive a little bit further past your fingertips, finding that range while you're also activating and waking up the upper abs. Good. Let an exhale drive you back. Hips get heavy towards the heels. Tuck your chin towards your chest. And inhale will float you on forward. And we got 2 more like that. Exhale, push it back. Inhale, bring it forward. 1 more time. We exhale, we push back. And inhale brings us forward. Wonderful. Come back to that neutral tabletop pose. If you are dying for a more traditional cat-cow, feel free to find that here for a moment. Untuck the toes. Inhale, belly is going to drop. Bend the elbows slightly as you pull your chest through. And then we exhale, start to scoop that tailbone up and under. Find that dome-like shape with the shoulders. 1 more here with me. Inhale, belly drops. Exhale, we push. Coming back to our neutral tabletop pose. Left hand's going to stay on the mat. We're going to inhale, right hand tie. gaze up towards your right hand, stack the shoulders here for a moment, and then drive that right shoulder away from your ear. Find one more steady breath in, reach through the fingertips, and then as you exhale, let your right fingertips find the nape of your neck. Focus on driving that right elbow up and behind so you can open up the chest. Good. Now when you find a breath in, one more reach. Now as you exhale, right elbow is going to chase your left thumb, twisting through the thoracic spine. Inhale is going to drive you up, elbow goes high. Exhale, we find that connection, right elbow, left thumb. Now this time, inhale, reach up, unwind, so we straighten that right arm. And then as you exhale, we thread it through, so drop your right shoulder down. You're gonna let your head rest here as well. And when you find a threading of your needle that feels good, focus on what you wanna do with this left hand. Maybe you crawled up towards the top of your space. Maybe it finds a bind behind. And when you think of your hips here, try to pull them back towards the right, less towards the left. And at least 2 big deep breaths. Like I said, we're not here for a super long time, but you do have a moment to find some space, yeah? Now, if you are exploring any bind, go ahead and unwind. Left hand's gonna push into the mat. We inhale, reach up with our right arm. Feel your extension, find that space. And then exhale brings us back, neutral tabletop pose. Right hand's gonna stay planted this time. We inhale our left hand up nice and high. Stack the shoulders here with me for a moment. I like to notice that left hip bone, so we wanna open up that left hip bone here as well. Big breath. And then exhale, let the left hand chase the nape of your neck. Try to open up through the chest here for a moment. Now, when you're ready, exhale, find that twist, left elbow toward your right thumb. Inhale, we open up. Exhale, we twist. Now this time, inhale, open up, reach and extend through your left fingertips. And then exhale, we thread it on through. So we drop down towards the right side of our space, resting that left cheek. Gentle push into your knees, into the tops of your feet here to find that stability. And your gaze doesn't necessarily have to go up towards the ceiling, but sometimes I do like to let my chest, my torso rotate up towards the ceiling just slightly here to add more depth to my twist. Now gently unwind if you do have any bind. Right hand's gonna push into the mat. We inhale, reach up with our left arm. And then exhale brings you back to that tabletop pose. Now from your tabletop pose, we tuck the toes, lift the knees, hike the hips on back. Let's find our first down dog. I'm just gonna be honest with everyone here. Your girl did not wear the right sports bra for this, but we are trucking on through, okay? So you find this downward facing dog, wiggle around a little bit, find some movement. If you are looking at me and or ever practice with me, I am always using my hips. I like to move my hips left, move them right. Use your weight to your advantage here to help you find that deeper stretch. Or just to help you kind of wake up a little bit through the sides, through the hamstrings, through the heels. Think of shaking out the head here as well. You might gently gaze up towards your right armpit, maybe towards the left armpit. And a couple steady breaths. Try to push your hands into the mat. You'll feel that elevation develop through your sides. You'll feel that slight lift through your shoulders. And we got 2 spinal waves on deck. So when you're ready, my friends, let's wave. Inhale, find your plank pose. And exhale, push it back, down dog. One more, inhale, plank pose. And exhale, down dog. Now from this downward facing dog, inhale, right foot up nice and high. For this first round, bend your right knee, stack your hips, push deeply into your right hand as you let that gaze travel up and under your left armpit. For the longest time, I hated moving in this pose. Like I didn't like to move my knee, I didn't like to move my ankle.
But eventually, like most stuff with practice, with enough consistency, I found something that felt good. So maybe you explore movement, maybe you enjoy stillness. Either way, we extend that right foot up towards that ceiling, find some length there, and then exhale, we step it through. Now when you step it through, we're gonna find a runner's lunge twist. So we keep that left hand planted and we inhale our right hand high. Again, coming back to the stacking of your shoulders as you drive your left heel back, lower the hips just slightly by bending into your right knee. Now with your top hand, that right arm rather, so with your top arm, go ahead and make some big circles. And then eventually go the opposite way as well. Good. Inhale, reach up with your right hand. And now as you exhale, let your right hand find your lower back. Drop your left knee, untuck the toes, and then inhale, sweep that left arm up nice and high, pushing the pelvis forward slightly, releasing that left quad. Pull your right hip back. Left thumb is chasing the back of your space. Big inhale, open up your front body. And then modified pyramid pose as you exhale, hands will cartwheel down. Tuck your back left toes, lift up your knee, and we fold over, straightening left leg, or straightening right leg rather. And every time I find a modified pyramid pose, I always remind everyone you have to lift up that back heel, right? That's the name of the game. Lift up that back heel, wake up the foot a little bit, and then start with pulling that right hip back. Now from here, high lunge crescent pose. Take your time. Breath in, you rise up. And you exhale, you settle. Try to widen the stance, or lengthen out the stance rather. So crawl your right foot forward, forward, forward. Squeeze that left heel back, back, back. Nice and strong. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Roll the shoulders away from your ears. Find a nice steady breath in as you gaze toward your horizon. Drive the shoulders away. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. Find a steady breath as you find your stability with me. Breathe deep. Now when you're ready, hands will plant. They frame that right foot. And then we step back to down dog. Right foot's going to meet your left. See how that feels for a moment. Now when you're ready, left foot goes high. Find that breath in. Bend and stack for this first round. So bending the left knee, stack the hips. Maybe you can find those left toesies towards the right side of your space by gazing under that right armpit. Inhale's going to re-extend that left leg nice and high. Exhale's going to step you right on through. Now we find that runner's lunge twist here. So right hand's going to stay planted this time. We inhale, left hand high. Notice what you can fix here, right? For myself already, I'm like, April, why are your hips so high? Drop the hips down, re-bend your left knee, push deeply into your right hand. And gaze can be up or down, quite literally whatever feels best for your neck. One more big breath in. And then make those circles here with your left arm. See how your range feels. And I always like to remind people to move a little bit slower. Oftentimes I see people like whipping through this like you're a windmill or something. I just want you to go nice and slow. Spend some time with those details. Beautiful. Let that left hand come back towards the ceiling. Breath in. And then exhale, left hand finds your lower back. We drop our right knee, we untuck the toes, and then we inhale, sweep that right hand up nice and high. Give yourself a moment, so let that gaze go up just a little bit here as well, but still keep some integrity for the back of your neck. And then notice if you can drop through your right quad just slightly here, steady breath. Modified pyramid pose. As you exhale, hands will frame the left foot, and we fold over, straightening left leg. Might feel nice to shake out the head a little bit. Grip the mat with that left big toe. Good. High lunge crescent pose. When you're ready, we inhale, we rise, nice and active through your core. Now you already know what I'm going to ask of you, my friends. Let's lengthen out this high lunge crescent pose. I'm here with you. I'm just trying to do this more in my own practice personally. I feel like sometimes we can get so stuck in the poses that we know and the sensations that we feel, and we can always find more depth. We can always find more challenge if that's what you want. And lately, I guess I have just been trying to bring some more strength into these legs, yeah? So I invite you here with me. Breath in, sweep the arms up. Stay here as you exhale. At least 2 more here with me. Lengthen out your sides, gaze high. Nice, my friends. Big breath in. And now exhale, hands come down. Left foot steps back to meet your right. Find a plank pose. First plank pose, set this up with me for a moment. Let your collarbone shine through, activate the core. And now when you're ready, shift the shoulders forward. Shift the heels back. Find that movement for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, chaturanga on 1. Lower it down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, back down dog. Beautiful job. Let's take 2 breaths in our down dog. We got a sun A on deck, my friends. A few items that we'll explore on our belly, and then we're gonna find our savasana. So when you're ready, our breath, our movement, we inhale, heels high. Exhale, walk, step, hop to the top of your mat. You're gonna inhale, halfway lift, flatten your back. Exhale, fold. Big breath, we root, re-rise, stand up nice and tall, push the hips forward. Exhale, brings your hands right back through heart center. Breath in, let's find your reach, let your gaze follow. Now as you exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank, and we're gonna do this together. So stick with me, plank pose. Lower for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Hold that half lower, 3, 2. Inhale, up dog on 1. And exhale, back down dog. Nice job, let it go. 2 breaths with me. We're gonna sigh out these exhales, okay? Big breath in. Let it go. 1 more like that, big breath in. Let it go. Nice job. Inhale the heels high. And then exhale, drop the knees down, think tabletop pose. Now, I'm not gonna be able to fully get into this puppy pose because I don't wanna like scrunch up my mic and stuff, but that's where we're gonna go. So puppy pose. Hips, knees, they stay just as they are, right? Right. Hands crawl forward, chest sinks down. And I can do this little rendition of puppy pose. So puppy pose, third eye can rest. That space in between the eyebrows. If you have some more space that you're wanting to explore, of course, you can tuck your chin towards the mat, gaze in between the thumbs as well. But we're in this puppy pose for a few reasons. A, just to reset, find your breath. Lengthen out the inhales, lengthen out the exhales, slow down the heart. B, you want to open up the shoulders, yeah? So give yourself a moment, gently press your palms into the mat as you crawl your fingertips forward. And then feel that chest melt down slightly, and then add your breath back into that space, into the chest, into the sides. 2 or 3 more rounds. Good. When you're ready, come right to your belly. So wave to the belly. Set your forearms on the mat here for a moment. Think Sphinx pose. And you have like a few seconds to get into your neck here. I quite like getting a nice release for my neck in Sphinx pose myself. So I'll invite you to do the same. So inhale, gaze up slightly. And then exhale, left ear to your left shoulder. Inviting subtle movement if that's what's calling for you. Now take the gaze up. We're not here for too long, but do shake your head left to right. And then eventually right ear drops to your right shoulder. And then of course, chin to your chest. Go ahead and look at me if you need to. I quite literally let my shoulder blades just boom, drop right in, and then shake my head left to right. Good, breath in, brings you up, and then kick your feet up towards the ceiling, windshield wiper left to right for a second. And honestly, sometimes, so instead of like windshield wiping left to right, your girl likes to make some circles. So make some circles with your feet. I think that feels amazing for the lower back. Good. Come on down. We're going to find a shoulder stretch, a child's pose, and then Savasana is all ours. But shoulder stretch. We've been doing the bending and the cactusing with our thread or with our supine twist. So let's kind of replicate that with the shoulder stretch as well. So we're getting to the to all the ranges of our tricep here too. So since you can see my left arm, let's start there. Cactus, goalpost, or left arm. Your left shoulder and your left elbow are in line. Your elbow's not higher, your elbow is not lower. It is right in line. Right hand under that right shoulder, we kick our right foot up, push into your right hand to stack the hips, and then let your right foot chase the space behind you that you cannot see. If this is ever too much, grab a block, place it under your head here, yeah? And you'll notice, I could, if I wanted to, I could plant my right foot, but that kind of feels a little intense for this shoulder stretch since I do have the left arm here in that cactus shape, so I just don't have as much space to explore. So you could always just let that right foot float behind you and just push into your right fingertips here. Might feel the shoulder blades squeeze together for a moment. Good, bring it back. Lie nice and neutral here. Hips are heavy towards that mat. And then gaze at your right side. Make sure everything is out of your way. Cactus that right arm. Left hand under your left shoulder. We stack the hips here one more time. And we have a moment here, and I might as well tell you my internal thoughts. That should just be my MO for these classes. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it. So when you find the stretch on your belly with the arms straight, you have more space to find flips, like flipping over. So my left leg, or my left foot rather, I usually have more space if my right arm was straight. But since I have it cactus, I'm losing space, and I can't think of the word that you would like say when you're like losing. More confined, yes. So you're more confined in this shoulder stretch, which is kind of the point, because it's more so focusing on your tricep and not the entire like range of your shoulder. If any of that made sense. Confined, you feel more confined. I knew what that word was. Come on back to your belly. Bring your hands under your shoulders and push it back to that child's pose. So hips go heavy towards the heels. When you find this child's pose, send the breath to your shoulder blades, to the back of your lungs. Feel spaciousness as you crawl your fingertips forward, lengthening out the back body. And you just have a breath or two here, nice and easy. Good. Now I'm going to give you the choice to find Savasana on your back. But again, oftentimes when I'm kind of just wanting to stretch and breathe and move for a minute, I would set a timer right now, close my eyes and just breathe, and I would use that as my Savasana. I don't want you guys to worry about that. So you can either lie on your back with that more traditional Savasana, or if you're wanting to just find a nice seat from that child's pose, it could feel good to find a seat. Let me face my friends. Could feel good to find a seat, scooch the sit bones back, drop the shoulders again away from the ears. Let your hands fall on top of your knees, and then let your palms flip up towards the ceiling so you're here to receive some of that good energy that you just created. We're going to find one breath here together to settle in, and then of course I will pay attention to time and I will get us out of this together, so I will hang out with you for the duration of this class here too. So when you're ready, find a big breath in. Exhale, let it go. So when you're ready, find that big breath in. Let it go. One more with me, then we have our Savasana, whether you're in a seat or on your back. Big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Stay here, find your rest, shut down your eyes, find your meditative state. Now, if you're wanting to stay here a little bit longer, completely tune me out, right? But if you're ready to wake up here with me to start or end your day or re-begin your day, go ahead and slowly bring your hands to your heart space. Just let them stack on top of one another. Feel your beating heart with me for a moment. Give some gratitude to that feeling. And now together, flutter the eyes open, reach the hands up nice and high. Big breath in. And exhale brings you right back through heart center. As always, thank you for joining me for your yoga class today. I hope you enjoyed the quicker, less traditional probably yoga class. And of course, we'll be back to longer ones and more specific ones, but you know, sometimes it's good to just move and just breathe, and hopefully that's what I was able to provide to you today. So I'll see you next week. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll link everything. I'll add some tidbits to the description as well. And I can't thank you enough for watching my videos and supporting me. So I will see you next week. But I was going to do this, so I want to do it really quick. Instead of pulling cards every day, because that is just too much work for my little brain to deal with, I like to soak in the cards I pull. So I pull cards every week now, and I kind of sit with them throughout the week and just see how I can bring that reminder into my days. So the cards I pulled today, I cultivated my retreat with it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pull my cards for the few days I'm in Phoenix and then kind of what I can bring into my retreat. And I literally have goosebumps just looking at them and thinking about it, because this is exactly what I would hope I can give people at the retreat, but also just a friendly reminder for myself and maybe a good reminder for you. So the first card I pulled today, it's a wonderful day to live and speak in my truth. Live and speak in your truth. And then I also, sometimes I do a double. And they're different cards too. I'll link the cards in the description as well. And then my other card I pulled today was, I am worthy of all the desire to create. Oh, I'm worthy of all I desire to create. I am capable of all I dream of doing. Mic drop. They're good. I hope someone needed to hear that, and I hope you believe that you're capable of all this too. Okay, I'll let you go. Peace.